All right, here we go. It's 2 days ago right there. Well, let me see. We might do that. That's live. All right. So this is a follow-up for Caleb Wilson. I did a video last week. He's a young man who he pledged a fraternity, and then he ended up passing away from a hazing. Now, initially, they said that this young man passed out in a park from running and exercising, but it came out that this wasn't true. He actually died inside of a warehouse, and it was proven that he was punched in the chest prior to this happening. Now, there's been an arrest made by one of his frat brothers, and also the story is that he actually changed Caleb Wilson's clothes before they took him to the hospital. Now, I'm not sure what he was actually wearing, but he may have just been like some shorts and a wife beater. And, it's cold this time of year, so it could have been a lot of factors. But we'll play this video and we'll see what exactly they're talking about now, because they said one of 3 men are arrested. Let me see. We'll play this one.
I never thought I would develop shingles. I was wrong. I didn't know that 99%.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, 8:13 on the East Coast and 5:13 on the West Coast. One arrest made and at least 2 more are expected in connection with the death of a 20-year-old Southern University student after an off-campus fraternity hazing ritual. That is according to Baton Rouge police, and that is the victim right there on your screen. We know from officials, they said, quote, Caleb Wilson died as a direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging. Fraternity member Caleb McRae, 23 years old, arrested Thursday evening and faces charges of manslaughter and felony criminal hazing in the death of Wilson, a mechanical engineering junior at the school who died in late February. Baton Rouge police providing a news conference here where they did give some more information about the arrest and the situation in general.
Over the past several days, detectives with our Baton Rouge Police Department have been working tirelessly around the clock and with cooperation from the District Attorney's Office and leadership at Southern University to bring some answers to the family and loved ones of band member and engineering student Caleb Wilson. Detectives have interviewed over a dozen people and executed multiple search warrants to gather as much information as possible. As many of you know, Baton Rouge Police Department was first made aware of the death of Caleb Wilson by medical staff at Baton Rouge General Hospital on February 26th around 2:40 a.m. Initial reports indicated that Caleb Wilson was dropped off at the emergency room by a group of males that stated he collapsed while playing basketball at a Breck Park located at 3140 North Sherwood Forest Boulevard. All of those subjects left prior to officers' arrival. Through diligent efforts during their investigatory process, BRPD detectives uncovered that the location reported initially was not accurate, and that the alleged incident, in fact, occurred at a warehouse located at 3412 Woodcrest Drive. And Caleb Wilson died as the direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging to Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
And see, that was always one of my things. Of course, I didn't go to college long enough to do any pledging or anything, but me personally, I would never pledge. That was never anything that crossed my mind as I thought was cool. Like, nothing against anybody that's in fraternities or sororities, but that was never something that crossed my mind. Like other people my age telling me what to do, like making, no, I'm not here for all of that. I never thought that was something that I would do, and I would never do it. Like, I know you have its perks. You're building a brotherhood, and when you go out to get jobs and stuff, you have these people you can lean on that'll help you get to spaces. But for me, that was never anything that I wanted to do, man. I couldn't just sit there and let somebody chump me. Like, look at this dude, Caleb McRae. I promise you, if he would have hit me in my chest or something that night, I would have caught him slipping, or I would have been up in his room whooping his ass. He would have been asleep, or I would have caught him walking with a girl or something and whooped his ass in front of her. I would have hit him upside his head with something. I wouldn't be able to go through none of that. Like, the hazing is all right. You know, you making us do goofy shit, cool. I'm not doing no, like, man, I don't know, man. And that shit just sucks. Cause this young man, he was actually doing something. Like Torian said, he was in the marching band. He was an engineer. This young man was educated. And he was trying to do something to further himself and his career, only for it to get cut short because this nigga wanted to goddamn punch people in the chest. Like, what are we doing that we got to get punched in the chest? You can punch somebody in the arm or something, but in the nigga's chest, come on, man. That's just stupid to me, man. I don't know, man.
Through further investigation, BRPD detectives developed several suspects involved in the incident. This is still an active and ongoing investigation, so additional warrants and persons involved cannot be ruled out at this time. Last night, one of the suspects, Caleb McRae, turned himself in with his attorney and was booked into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. McRae has been charged with criminal hazing and manslaughter. Again, this is still an active and ongoing investigation with more arrests forthcoming. We'll be updating the media and the community as these arrests occur. I ask that you all continue to keep this family in your prayers as our Baton Rouge Police Department continues to investigate and try to bring answers to this family about what happened to Caleb and arrest those that are responsible. Thank you. I'm gonna have the Mayor President step up and give a few remarks. Mayor.
Good morning. I echo the chief. These are days and times that we don't want to have to deal with. I was blessed to meet the family. Had a private meeting with Caleb's mom, dad, grandma, and uncle. One of too many meetings I've had since I've been in office with young people that we're losing way too soon. The main message I want to put is from the mayor's office in the city of Baton Rouge's prayers for the family during this time. I want to thank Southern University, the chief, the district attorney, and everyone involved for their hard work. You know, my message to Baton Rouge is we got to do better, Baton Rouge. We got to do better. We feel like sometimes we take one step forward and two steps back. It's a sad day to use such a promising young life. And I encourage all the young people out there to make better decisions. So here again, we hate having these family meetings. We got to do better, Baton Rouge. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Shields, and I serve as the president of Southern University System. Words cannot express how deeply saddened we are by the loss of our student, Caleb Wilson. Our collective thoughts and prayers continue to be with Caleb's family, friends, classmates, and all who knew and loved him. Southern University is very much appreciative of the efforts of the Baton Rouge Police Department under the leadership of Chief Morse.
First on with Channel 9, can you guys say how many additional people could potentially be arrested, or during conflicting reports, as many as 3 individuals, possibly more? Do you guys have a number of how many people cooperated?
Yeah, so let me first say I too have seen a lot of conflicting reports out there, none of which are coming from the Baton Rouge Police Department. So please get all of your news straight from us and wait for our official statements. Right now, we have 2 additional suspects that we are drawing up warrants for and working with their attorneys to turn themselves in later today. As that happens, we will update everyone on those arrests as well. But right now, this is still an ongoing investigation. There may be more suspects, but right now we have 2 that we are drawing up warrants for.
Can you talk about the collaboration? You said you guys interviewed a number of individuals. Were those individuals pledges, or were they actually the individuals?
So I'm not going to give any information about the people that we interviewed, but the people that we did interview led us to this point where we were able to get the information to make these arrests.
Chris Joseph with Fox 8 9 New Orleans. Can you speak about the decision making on the charges, perhaps why these aren't second-degree murder?
Yeah, so good question. In the state of Louisiana, we have 5 degrees of homicide. We have first degree of murder, first degree homicide, second degree homicide, manslaughter, negligent homicide, and vehicular homicide. In this case, manslaughter is the most appropriate charge in the state of Louisiana, being that there is no proof that we could come up with a specific intent to kill, but that the death was caused in direct relation to another felony that was being committed during that death, and that felony being the act of criminal hazing.
Related to those 2 other potential suspects, or maybe anybody else, do you have any reason to believe more than one individual laid hands on Wilson during the incident?
All of that is still pending. Some more questions that are being happened. Like I said, we've done over a dozen interviews. More are coming as we continue to interview people. We might have some more information. We might have further charges on further people.
I have a follow-up. Do you know how many people were at the event?
We do, but we're not ready to release that right now.
Everybody else have any questions?
Could you elaborate on how long the delay from the original incident to Caleb actually arriving?
Yeah, so that's all part of our investigation and has gone into why we the charges that we have done. Don't have the exact timeline that we're ready to release as far as when Caleb first collapsed at this warehouse and then when he arrived at the hospital. All of that.
So they say there's two other guys, but this guy Caleb, both of them were Caleb, but this guy Caleb McCrae, he turned himself in, and then the other two, they haven't turned themselves in. I haven't seen any articles or anything with like an update. So I guess they just still out and about. Let me see. Yeah, so the other two, they're just out and about, and we don't know where the hell they are. Then this is the other Caleb that's locked up. Yeah, they haven't released their names. They haven't apprehended them, but this guy turned himself in. So I don't know what the other two are doing. If I think he's the one that delivered the blow. I think the other two are probably they're probably more than likely waiting on a lawyer, because if this happened while they were doing the hazing, that means the other people that were there getting hazed, they're all getting interviewed. Everyone's getting interviewed for this. You know, they didn't already told who the other guys are. That's why they haven't released the names. I guess they were trying to give them a chance to turn themselves in, because it isn't murder. They're giving them manslaughter. That's what they're charging them with, manslaughter. Which I think you should get at least 20 years minimum mandatory. Like something like that, of that nature. Yeah, it's manslaughter. You didn't mean for it to happen, but come on, man. Hazing is already illegal anyway. And you probably punched them multiple times. So that should be like a 20-year sentence. I know it sounds harsh, but man, you took someone's life. Yeah, man, that's yeah, I didn't like when I was reading this article, man, because that young man, he was an engineer and he was in the band. So, you know, he was on scholarship. He was doing it for his family. Yeah, they said they changed his clothes. Let me see if I can find
That is still kind of pending some questions that we're trying to follow up on. What I can say is that at no time did anyone call 911, attempt to call 911, or try to summon an ambulance to the warehouse to give him medical aid.
And the second thing, could you know, is there any implication for Todd Smith, the part owner of the warehouse within?
Not right now. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any charges coming for the individuals that made up the story about the park?
So again, all of that is kind of in investigation process. There is no specific statute for lying, right? There are some things that we're looking at as far as maybe obstruction or other things, but that's still things that we're working through as we're gathering some more evidence and continue to investigate and ask questions.
How many people can you say might face charges?
Not sure right now.
Has there been a warrant already put out, especially warehouse, after they see the list was look at it?
Yeah, so we one of the warrants that we did conduct was at the warehouse, and this was a week ago, more than a week ago, before anybody else really knew that the warehouse even existed. We had already performed a search warrant and tried and gathered evidence there. What evidence we gathered, again, I'm not ready to discuss, but we were able to get some evidence at the warehouse.
Two questions. First question, I'm Andre Shapiro with Unfiltered with Kieran.
Yes, sir.
First question, what's your message to the other college students?
Yeah, so this is a very serious incident, very serious law that I think is a good law for criminal hazing that people need to make sure that they're paying attention to. You can hear just from the administrative point of view, from Southern's leadership, and LSU would have the same kind of statements. But from our law enforcement side, we are going to enforce these laws whenever they're applicable and whenever it comes to our attention. And it is a felony charge.
Second is real quick for Taylor Moore. How does Max Gruber act in this case?
So it's one that we're going to consider because in the Max Gruber law, which is hazing, so it incorporates not only misdemeanor hazing, act of regular hazing, but also when hazing involves a great bodily injury or death, there is a felony component to hazing, and it carries up to 5 years. So that is a potential. However, in this case, at this point, at least one defendant was charged with misdemeanor hazing plus the felony manslaughter. Felony manslaughter is whenever a direct battery or a misdemeanor against the person is committed, and because of that, someone dies. That is a punch, and someone dies, it carries up to 40 years. There's also the potential of a negligent homicide. So it really depends on how the facts play out. And so in this case, the potential would be, again, it's ongoing. And, thanks again to the cooperation of Baton Rouge Police, but particularly to Southern University. I've been through a lot of hazing cases before, and I think I've probably had 40 phone calls with Chancellor Pierre and their office providing information to us to give to the police department. That's a very good cooperation. So it's possible, with all the other questions that you guys have asked, this case could go to the grand jury just to see what other things are out there. How did it get formed? Is this the first time it's ever happened? Why at this location? Who knew what? Who reported as quickly as they can? There are several penalties in the Max Groover violation for the institutions as well, not necessarily the Southern University, but the corporate chapter. So there are a lot of things that are possibilities. It just depends.
You already know they about to hit that chapter across their head. They're gonna probably get like 500,000. They're gonna probably be shut down for like a year, 2 years. They can't have nothing on the campus. I don't even know who they got the warehouse from. They ain't telling us where the warehouse is, but they about to drop the hammer on them because they definitely don't want this to happen ever again, let alone down here in Texas.
Depends on who comes forward and what information that we're provided and able to prove. So that's our possibility.
One last question.
Whether Dr. Gio is possible. I know there's a student judiciary process, but are any of these students possibly facing expulsion?
Certainly that is a possible outcome, but we need to follow our due process rights, give the students notice that they're being accused of being outside of the code of conduct regulations, and we want to follow those rules, regulations, and due process. They have every right to that. So yes, the expulsion is one of the things that could happen. Also, that's a possibility for the Greek organization.
I told you they definitely about to attack the organization. All right, so here goes the article that goes a little more in depth on CNN. One arrested, more suspects sought after Southern University fraternity hazing death. Now I'm just trying to get into the details because we pretty much heard most of it. One arrest has been made, and at least 2 more are expected in connection with the death of a 20-year-old Southern University student after an off-campus fraternity hazing ritual. Baton Rouge authorities announced. Caleb passed as a direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging Omega Psi Phi fraternity. The police department told reporters. Fraternity member Caleb McCrae, 23, was arrested Thursday evening and faces charges of manslaughter, felony criminal hazing, and death of Wilson, a mechanical engineering junior at the school who died in late February. He only had 2 years left, too. This is his last semester before his senior year. Damn. Wilson and 8 others pledging the fraternity were punched by McCrae and at least 2 other individuals wearing boxing gloves, according to a police arrest affidavit reviewed by the Associated Press. So these fools had on boxing gloves and were punching people that were probably not prepared for the punch, probably relaxed, probably caught off guard, probably tired from doing push-ups or some other bullshit, and they are punching them as hard as they can in their chest with boxing gloves on. Just because you got a boxing glove on doesn't mean the punch is going to be any softer. We seen boxers, trained boxers, get killed in the ring by getting punched with a damn glove. So it was 8 others down there and 3 people at least doing the hazing. After McCrae punched Wilson 4 times in the chest, Wilson collapsed to the floor, becoming unresponsive. The affidavit states Wilson appeared to suffer a seizure and lose control of his bodily function. No signs of trauma were found on Wilson's body except for a small bruise on the right side of his chest. So it's over here. Damn, I wonder what the hell he hit. The coroner's office was awaiting the results of additional testing, but didn't know when those would be complete. McCrae had no intention to cause death or greatly bodily harm. To Wilson, the police affidavit states McCrae Attorney Philip Robinson said the client deserved due process. I maintain my client's innocent and urge the public to withhold rushing to judgment until all evidence is heard. Yeah, we're not holding no judgment. This nigga punched this young man in the chest with a damn fucking boxing glove on and killed this boy. We're not we're not withholding any judgment. We judging him. Lock his ass up. McCray and his family declined to comment. Well, if you want us to withhold judgment, then you need to comment so we can see what you got to say about it. So, okay, well, we won't judge you. Okay, it was an accident, but we know it wasn't an accident because you punched everybody multiple times. Southern University suspends fraternity and pledging. Wilson was initially brought to a hospital by a group of men who falsely said that he had collapsed while playing basketball at a park, but in fact had suffered injuries at a flooring company warehouse. So it was a flooring company warehouse. The group left before police arrived at the hospital, and no one contacted 911 at any point. They changed Wilson's clothing before bringing him to the hospital, the affidavit states. In Louisiana, hazing can become a felony under the Max Groover Act, which passed in 2018, was named after Louisiana State University student who died of alcohol poisoning after hazing Phi Delta Theta fraternity house. Under the act, if a person being hazed dies or is seriously injured, violators face up to a $10,000 fine and 5 years in prison. Organizations, representatives, and officers of organization and educational institutions can also face penalties. So up to 10,000, give them the 10,000 max, give them the 5 years max. Omega Psi Phi could face civil penalties under the act, East Baton Rouge District Attorney Hillard Morris said. The fraternity's campus chapter has been ordered to cease all activities, and students involved in Wilson's death could face expulsion, Southern University President Dennis Shields told reporters. All campus Greek life organizations are barred from taking any additional members through the remainder of the academic year, he added. So all the Greeks are suffering from this incident. Cease all activities. So if you were pledging, you had to start all over. Can't bring in anybody new. To those that did pledge, they need to go ahead and just push them through. Once this is over and lifted, they don't need to go through nothing else. They need to be in the frat. Dallas Thompson, a spokesperson for Omega Psi Phi fraternity, said the organization is saddened by the tragic situation at Southern University and is committed to cooperating with and supporting all ongoing investigations to uncover the truth. What up, Kendall? Corey Wilson mourns along other grieving family members during the vigil for Caleb Wilson outside Southern University. Smith Brown Student Union. It's just unnecessary. But I could never see me going in here and letting some niggas tell me what I can and can't do. And I'm not getting paid from this just to be cool, just to be in, man. I'd be on my own, man. The hell with it. Among Caleb Wilson's passions was music. He played the trumpet for the university's famous marching band known as the Human Jukebox, which recently performed at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. In a post on Facebook, the band wrote that the members carry Wilson's spirit with every step and every note. This was more than just a performance, the post read. It was a tribute, a farewell, and a promise that Caleb's legacy will live on. Damn. Ain't that something? This nigga 23, man. You too old to still be in there, man. What was he doing at 23? What was he doing? You're not even. Where do you go? 18 to 21? 18, 22? What was this old ass nigga Caleb McCray doing there? He must be an alum. Well, it said fraternity member, so I get. He must be an alum or he graduated late. Oh, alums joining? Oh man, see, them old niggas come in there, man. I'm telling you, man. I joke around a lot, but I promise you one thing. If I felt like I was disrespected or something in there, I promise I'm getting somebody. I don't care what nobody talk about. Oh, Mo, you don't get. I'm getting revenge on somebody. I'm catching somebody in it. Don't let it be a sports player. Don't let it be an athlete. If it's an athlete doing the hazing, I guarantee you, I'm ruining your life. I am tearing your knee up. I don't care how I got to do it. I don't care if y'all jump me and whoop my ass. But if I feel disrespected and it's a student athlete, I guarantee you won't be finishing the school year all playing sports because I'm coming after you. This right, I didn't like when I did this article. This is most of the time, you know, I watch it. I really don't have any feelings or anything about it. But I was like, man, that's messed up. This young man was trying to do something with his life. He wasn't into it with nothing. He was at the Super Bowl. Just sad, man. Hopefully they get the other two. Hopefully they get the other two very, very quickly. Get their ass, bring them on in. His brothers, his line brothers, they need to go ahead and tell the police everything, man. All that snitching and all that, get that out of here. Go tell everything y'all know. Get both of them off the streets. And the crazy thing is, he can't even, this dude McCray probably can't even afford the $10,000 fine they're going to give his dumb ass. Give him that fine, lock his ass up. Yeah, well, that's an update on Caleb Wilson. 3 suspects, 1 is apprehended. We don't know what the other 2 are doing. I guess they're waiting to turn themselves in. I'm trying to see if we can find any. Oh, man. So, all right, hold on. Here goes a little more information about him on the New York Post. Southern University grad, so you did graduate, arrested for delivering fatal punches in violent frat hazing a 20-year-old pledge. I thought it said that he was in the army or something. All right, so that's what we already read. Southern University, Louisiana graduate, been charged and turned himself in. Continue without supporting. Caleb McCray turned himself in with his attorney and was booked in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. McCray is a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity that Wilson 20 attempted to join when he was killed. He graduated from Southern University December 2024. So he just graduated 2 months ago and is a Louisiana Army National Guard member. Not anymore. So he just graduated 2 months. He was released from prison on Friday after making a $75,000 bond. They indicated that McCray and the other 2 unidentified suspects could face additional charges for lying to police. A group of students dropped Wilson off at a hospital and allegedly told the staff he had collapsed after being struck in the chest with a basketball. Suspicions of their explanation, hospital officials contacted the police, but the fraternity brothers fled before cops arrived. An investigation determined the men had never been at a local park playing ball, as they said, but were instead in a warehouse carrying out a violent hazing ritual on 9 pledges. McCray and at least 2 others wore boxing gloves and reportedly struck the victims, with McCray allegedly striking Wilson 4 times in the chest. Wilson collapsed, suffered a seizure, and lost control of his bodily functions, according to the affidavit. Yeah, he played the trumpet too, man. Here we go. The fraternity brothers allegedly swapped the gray sweatpants Wilson was wearing, which all the pledges were made to wear, for a black pair before rushing him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. They emphasized that Wilson died as a direct result of a hazing incident. An autopsy later revealed that Wilson suffered no significant trauma to his body aside for the small bruise on the right side of his chest. All right, so yeah, this is all that we went over. The charges brought against Mr. Caleb McCray are serious, and we acknowledge the gravity of this matter. However, it is essential to remember that the accusation is not proof of guilt at this time. I have not been presented with any evidence to support such serious accusations. I maintain my client is innocent and urge the public to withhold rushing to judgment. Well, let me tell you something. If this isn't proof of guilt, then why you turn yourself in? If I ain't do nothing, I ain't turning myself in. Get you a warrant and come and get me. If I didn't do anything, I'm not turning myself in. I'm not about to go pay a bond for something I didn't do. No, I'm gonna get with my lawyer, and we didn't do anything after the investigation go down. But if you turning yourself in, then you had something to do with this, because I'm not turning myself in if I ain't do nothing. I'm with you in there. I'm judging completely. I mean, this nigga's guilty. He needs that $10,000 and that 5 years plus lying to the police. So go ahead and give him 7 years. Well, they'll probably do it concurrently. So, yeah, well, hopefully they get justice for this young man, because he definitely did not deserve this at all. He did not deserve this at all. If that was my son, I mean, I don't know, man. Even thinking logically, I know you say you want to do something, but I guess until I would have to be level headed until I found out. Like I'd have to get all the evidence. I mean, of course, I'm already, like I said, I'm judging this guy here. He turned himself in, and if the police are saying all this, but I know I'm not about to make any moves or anything as of right now. It's just too hot. It's just, I don't know. I'm not, because you still got your family and everything. And if me as a father, we lost our son, it wouldn't do any good for the family to lose their father, even if I'm just detained for like a weekend or like a week or something for attacking this man. So obviously, you know, you had that hurt and you would want to do something, but younger me, I probably wild out. But now I'm thinking a little bit logically, like I wouldn't be able to leave my wife and any of my other kids by trying to harm this guy, and I get locked up and I'm away from the family. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't make any sense, especially going through this, because that means I'd miss out on my son's funeral. I'd miss out on being around all my family members, miss out on the support from all my family members, and they got to talk to me while I'm in jail being held. Obviously, it'd probably get, you know, no jury is going to be like, hey, that father is guilty of doing anything, but still, that's time away from the family, especially when this is so fresh. So I wouldn't do anything irrational or make like any crazy moves. Obviously, I get a lawyer. I try to get a lawsuit against the school. I get a lawsuit against the fraternity. Definitely I would sue this gentleman once we get all the information. But really, that's all I could do in a situation. Like, I'd be hurt. I'd be pissed. I'd want to hurt this guy, but it'd just take another family member away from the family at a time we don't need that. Because I don't know if you guys ever been like planning a funeral and everything. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of things you got to do, and it's going to take all your attention. That's why they give you so much time off from work if you had a good job. But a decent job, they give you the time off because it's a lot. It's not like you can just go get everything done in a day. It literally takes a week for a proper burial, 2 weeks sometimes. You got to coordinate with family members coming in. You got your parents if they aren't in this state. You got a lot of stuff going on. So obviously you don't want to take away from your own family, because this is, it's still a celebration for Mr. Wilson, even though he passed. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, man. It really does, man. But I wouldn't do anything, man. I'd be at home with my family, and I'd be with a lawyer. I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I'll do one more. Oh, we'll do two more, because I wanted to talk about this police officer, and then there's a